everybody. Welcome back to the latest edition of Terrace Talk. Obviously, a huge thumping win for Norwich City against Plymouth at Carrow Road on Saturday. Oh, not Tuesday. This Saturday, obviously, it is Luton Town making the visit to Norfolk. Really excited for the game. Obviously, Norwich hoping to try and maintain that positive home form, irrespective of that sort of defeat against Bristol City a few weeks back. Hopefully, they can build off that win on Tuesday with that. Delighted to be joined by Luton Town fan Dave from the Oh When the Town podcast. Dave, first and foremost, really appreciate your time this evening. Let's get into it straight away. I'd imagine you're not going to want to reflect on this too much, but a 3-0 defeat at Ellen Road last night. I did catch little bits of it. I'd imagine the mood is pretty low off the back of that.
Well, firstly, thanks for having me on. Yes, very low. I got to say that the performance wasn't really good to see. We had a couple of chances, but my goodness, you can see why Leeds are going to go up this season. They were brilliant, but that's not to say we were terrible. And we've been terrible for a few weeks now, and it's been hard to watch Luton at the moment. It's been really hard to watch, and we just don't know where this lack of form has come from. And last night, if we'd have got in at 1-0 at half-time, might have been a little bit different. But unfortunately for us, they scored in the 45 plus 1 minute time. So it became a bit of a pain. And we didn't look like we was ever in the game, to be fair. And it's just frustrating. So frustrating being a Hatter right now.
Yeah, you mentioned that sort of season more generally being quite frustrating. I mean, 16th in the league at the moment. I'd imagine at the start of the campaign, the expectations were to try and bounce straight back to the Premier League. I mean, what have you sort of made of the season so far?
I don't think any Luton supporter came down from the Premier League glory that we had for one season. I mean, listen, we performed quite well up there, but we just didn't do enough to stay up. And, to stay up would have been a miracle for a club of our size. However, having said that, when you come down and you've got the strongest squad we've ever owned and the most valuable squad we've ever owned, you might have just performed better. If you thought we were going to bounce back up, I think you might have been a little bit, I don't want to say deluded, that's quite derogatory, isn't it? But it's the wrong thought. There are good teams in this division that, like Leeds United, they sort of should have gone up last season, shouldn't they? Let's be fair. And, Ipswich, I don't know how they managed it, but they bounced through. And you've got teams like that. Then you've got Burnley who are kicking in. You've got Sheffield United that are kicking in. If you come down from that division thinking we are going to go straight back up, then I think there was something wrong with you. But what you should have been saying to yourself is we can compete better and there's a chance we might make the playoffs again. And if we're good enough for the playoffs, maybe we can sneak into that top two. But and that's based on the squad size. If you think about before we got promoted to the Premier League, our record signing was £1.2 million. We broke that record signing 4 times in a month, yet it's still only 5 million and now 10 million. It's not a lot of money, but it's the biggest, most expensive squad we've ever had. And I don't understand how we haven't capitalised on that as at the moment. So I don't think we expected to bounce back up, but I thought we'd be more competitive than we actually have been this season.
I suppose has that led to maybe the talk around Rob Edwards and his future as Luton boss? I mean, where do you sit on that at the moment? I've seen sort of bits of social media and the Luton fan base that maybe want to see a change, see some that maybe defend him for the job he's done. So sort of where are you on that spectrum?
Well, I've got to be careful with what I say at the moment because it's a difficult one again, because who is there to replace him? Who do we go for if we get rid of him? I'm on the part of, I think, it can't be all his fault. It literally can't be all his fault. People will say he plays players in square pegs, round holes, all that sort of thing, papering over the cracks. Our best performance this season was against Watford. And I thought, here we go. We've got it right now. We'll go on. I don't know if we get rid of him. I just think if he goes, he has to go on his own accord. I don't think the board are going to fire him. And I think, this division currently is a bit mad with points, isn't it? We can win 2 games and be in the top 10. We can lose 2 and we'd be in the bottom 3. So I just don't know. We just haven't clicked, and I don't know why we haven't clicked. Can you blame the manager, or is it? So I'm quite happy to see him stay for a little bit longer, but I think it comes to a point where you have to take that decision and decide that, okay, someone else needs to come in. But then you just need to know who the someone else is. And, at the moment there was talk about Robbins, but, he's been linked with Hull, hasn't he? And Do you want to become Wayne Rooney's Plymouth or Frank Lampard's Coventry? I don't know. I just don't know. And it's a difficult one. And I don't understand how you can go from competing and managing, and let's talk about the manager. He managed the team in the Premier League, competing against the likes of, Arsenal. Just in the last minute, we muck up. Liverpool, just in the last minute, they equalised. And we've gone toe to toe with some of those teams. And to come down into division and play like we've played, it's been demoralising. And I can see that he was a bit down on his luck, and he didn't look very well. He's not himself. The team are not themselves. Something's got to give. And unfortunately, if the board decide then it's going to be him, then I think it'll be after Christmas when the transfer window opens.
Yeah, they always say shifting that mindset from sort of coming down from the Premier League, losing every week to try and get it straight back up and bouncing back to trying to get wins can always be quite difficult. We've sort of had that, I suppose, in previous years, certainly under Dean Smith when we came down the last time, just trying to get out of that sort of losing habit and turn it into a winning one. Let's talk a little bit about a few connections between the two sides. I mean, there's a couple of former Canaries in the Hatters camp. One that maybe doesn't feature very regularly, Tim Krul, a bit of a sort of club culture legend, I suppose, for a lot of Norwich fans for what he'd done over the sort of relatively recent past. I think it's just 6 appearances so far for Luton. The other one is maybe less so known in terms of his sort of senior appearances for Norwich in Carlton Morris, just the one, but won an FA Youth Cup here, came through the academy, and seems like he's really clicked at Luton. So what do you make of those two individuals and sort of their time so far at Luton?
I was quite surprised when Krul joined us. Delighted to have him because of his pedigree from previous histories, obviously. And when he's been on the pitch, he's been great, But I think he's more there as a coach as well, and his goalkeeping abilities alongside. So as a backup, he's brilliant. He's been brilliant. But we haven't obviously seen a lot of him playing. But when he's been called for, he's done it, and he's done okay with it. Carlton, on the other hand, I love him. I think he's immense. When he's on form, he's brilliant. He can hold the ball up well. He does go down a little bit easier at times, but he did blossom when we got promoted. His season that season was brilliant. He was scoring for fun. And then people said he wouldn't score in the Premier League. Well, he did, and he scored a couple of great goals. But this season, like all of them, they just haven't fired up. So yeah, I love Carlton Morris. I think he was a really good purchase for us. And if we can keep hold of him for a little bit longer, he'll do us a good job. I think Tim Krul, on the other hand, I think that the twilight of his career, really, isn't he? Let's be fair. And I think he's looking for a position that will lead him into that coaching role a bit more. And I think why not with us at the moment? Learn your trade, and then if you need to move on, move on. But they're both great players. But Carlton Morris, for me, of the two, if I had to big him up, it would be him because he's a great player. Love him.
Yeah, I'd imagine both will get a positive reception from the Carrow crowd on Saturday. One player, of course, that's in the Norwich camp that's formerly a Luton player, Jack Stacey. I mean, sort of have been thrusted out of the team a little bit, come back into it in sort of recent games and been pretty good, pretty solid. 95 appearances in a Luton Town shirt. I mean, just reflect on his time at Luton and I suppose the reception he's going to get on Saturday from those travelling fans.
Listen, when he played for us, I thought it was pretty good. He started getting really good, and then Nathan left, and he went with Nathan, didn't he? And I'm just thinking, well, I can understand why he went, because it would be money, nothing more than money, and he didn't get that chance when he was playing with Nathan. So then he ends up at Bournemouth, wasn't it? And then he came to you guys. And so at Bournemouth, he was getting games in the Premier League too, and you're just thinking, you could see he was that standard of a player. So for Luton, I thought he was solid. I thought he learned his trade better with us, and he fitted in quite well. So I was quite disappointed for him to go. I don't think any fan will give him any grief at all. He'll get a good round of applause from us, of course, unless he scores, in which case we might change our minds. But he's been a good player. He's a decent person. So I'm delighted to see him being successful, but just not at the weekend, if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, we'll see how we go with that one. In terms of strengths and weaknesses in this Luton side for Norwich to maybe exploit or maybe be wary of on Saturday, I mean, looks like that sort of conceded defensive record's a little bit concerning from what I can sort of see. I think you're third in terms of most goals conceded. Is that maybe an area where Norwich could try and exploit on Saturday?
Look, the whole team is underperforming, full stop. So I can't say to you there's any individual player that hasn't put the shift in, because they all haven't put a shift in at times. If you get behind the back four, we don't even know who the back four might be. That's how poor our team has been recently with injuries, and we've had people playing in the wrong positions. We don't know who's going to stay. Is Hashioka going to start, or is it going to be one of our centre backs playing right back, or so it's a difficult one. I think that is the issue with us. We just don't know what the formation is going to be or where we're going to play. So we've been weak across all of the field, all of the midfield, and our front two have just not been slotting them in, and we haven't been creating enough chances. So the disappointing thing is that I can't put my finger on any player. If you're looking for a player to look for, then I would say look out for Kraus in midfield, because he has been sweet as this season, and probably the one shining light in some of the terrible performances we've had recently. I don't think our front two can go barren for too much longer. I think someone's going to score. And if it's more than likely, Adebayo needs to flick it in a couple of times more, because he's not hit the ground running at all. So it's a difficult one. I don't think there's any strength in our team right now that I'd sit there and go, oh, Norwich will have a problem with that. Because I look at, at the time I'm thinking we're coming to Carrow Road, Norwich are on a run where they haven't lost for so many times at Carrow Road. Then you had that blip, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, well, maybe then we have this blip and it will carry on, and then you smash 6. So we come in, well, personally, I'm coming in fear of a repeat of that, because we haven't been playing well at all. So you can take into that what you wish.
Yeah, you mentioned that sort of strong home form for Norwich. Just intrigued to get your take on Norwich so far this season from someone from the outside. I mean, given kind of the new era, I suppose, under new management and different ownership soon coming into, or sort of starting to gradually move into the club. I mean, from afar, where do you pitch Norwich in the Championship so far this season? Very competitive, as we mentioned at the start.
Yeah, I think when you look at the home record, then you start to worry that, well, not worry. You look at your team and you go, I expect Norwich to be competing, and I take that from being quite an older person that's seen Norwich for a number of seasons. And there's no reason why they shouldn't compete. But like we said earlier, there's some big teams in this division that are spending crap loads of money and performing well. And those that are performing above their levels are just grinding out results. And I don't want to be, again, disrespectful to Sunderland or whatever else, but I didn't expect Sunderland to have such a great start. So it's early days, but you're in a good position, and I feel that Norwich are Norwich for me. They grind out some results, but the home form is particularly good at the moment. And I suspect that when it's been like that in the past, Norwich have done very, very well. So I'd like to think that they would be up there, at least in those playoff positions towards the end of the season. And then, like you say, then it's, if you can keep in touch with the top two up until the final weeks, then you've got a good chance. But I would expect Norwich to be there or thereabouts. I would be very disappointed if I was a Norwich fan to finish lower than they actually are right now. So that's how I'd look at it.
Yeah, I hope you're right. I mean, moving forwards on terms of Saturday's game, how do you see it unfolding? You sort of mentioned there, Norwich obviously on the whole had pretty strong home form for sort of the last calendar year. Not Millwall, I think you beat Millwall, but since then and that point at Portsmouth, you've lost 5 straight away games. But you've got a good record against Norwich more generally. I think you've won 5 of the last 6 since sort of that FA Cup game back in, 2013 now. So how do you see the game unfolding?
Well, thanks for reminding me of the FA Cup game, because, created a little bit of history there, didn't we? Being the first non-league club to beat a Premier League club. And it was a fantastic day at Carrow Road, and the noise from us was brilliant. I enjoyed every second of it. Where do I see it Saturday? I just can't see where the wind's coming from us. I can't see us. I literally can't see us breaking that duck. That series of wins we've had away, which is losses, obviously not wins. I just can't see where it's going to come from. And I think if we play to our strengths, if we can close you down, if we can get the ball, we didn't get the ball against Leeds United for 15 minutes. We didn't see the ball at all. We created 2 chances. But I think if we can get the ball and harass Norwich in a way that we've done against Watford, then we may have a chance. But I don't think anyone's coming with any confidence whatsoever. And I think maybe that takes a little bit of pressure off the players. Maybe we're all coming thinking, well, it's going to be another long day, although it's not so far to come. But and I genuinely can't see how we're going to beat you at the moment. I really can't. But maybe the players will step up. Maybe we'll have one of those days where the luck goes our way, and I think possibly that's the only way. If we can keep you from scoring early, Leeds scored in 10 minutes, Plymouth scored in 12 minutes or something like that. If we can keep you off the scorer, then we're in with a chance. And even if you go 1-up, if we can keep it to 1-0, then we're in with a chance to get something. But I can only look at Middlesbrough when we got thumped 5-1. They scored first, and you saw all the heads of the players go down, and it's so depressing to go and see a team that was fighting on all areas for the last 4 seasons to be in this position. And I come with no optimism whatsoever, but I'm coming. So there must be that tiny bit of hope somewhere that says we might perform enough, but I don't think we will. And I think if we go to form, then Norwich should make this an easy 3 points, and that disappoints me to say that.
Yeah, I'm going to push you for a score prediction. We always try and get the opposition fans to sort of give us a prediction. Yeah, in terms of maybe less positivity there. How do you see it in terms of a prediction?
Do you want heart or head? I can give you both.
Go both.
So, right. The head says Luton will not win this game. My head says that Norwich will win possibly 2-3-0 or 2 or 3-1. So I'm going to put my head on the line and say I expect that Norwich should win, and they should win comfortably. So let's say 3-1. My heart says, please don't let that happen. Please, can we at least take a point? And I'll be happy with a 1-1. So I'll go with that. If it's anything different in our favour, I will be ecstatic, and I won't be leaving Norwich early.
Yeah, we'll see what we get. Dave, I really do appreciate your time this evening. Obviously, you've got your podcast there tagged underneath. Just want to plug where Luton and Norwich fans can find your guys' content. Yeah,
well, we're going to be Owen the Town on YouTube or Spotify or anywhere else you get your podcast from. And we record post-match on a Monday. It's out on a Tuesday. Come along, see what we thought of the game on a Tuesday. It's always welcome the opposition's thoughts as well when they come on, leave some comments. That'd be brilliant. So on the YouTube, Owen the Town, come and give us a look, because we could be depressed or we could be deliriously happy. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll link that, of course, down below. So yeah, you can go and check that out on maybe sort of the dates where it's out and available. Obviously, hopefully from a Norwich perspective, we're kind of hoping maybe it won't be a too joyful podcast for you guys, but I'd imagine any Luton fans will be hoping the opposite. With that, we're going to sign off. Dave, obviously, as I mentioned, really appreciate your time this evening. Plenty of good content across our channels still at the moment as well. We spoke to Johannes off Torp this lunchtime. Full press conference now available on the Pink and YouTube channel. Obviously, Sam will be recording Tactics Board this evening, so that'll be out tomorrow morning. So plenty of good stuff across our channels ahead of this game on Saturday. So join us at Carrow Road on Saturday. Hopefully for Norwich City's sake, it's going to be another pummeling maybe. But, as with Luton, as I mentioned, Norwich have not got the best of records. So hopefully they can put that straight on Saturday.